Okay, now if we have a picture of something, which is what we did in the last video, we can look at it and see where it's above the x-axis and where it's below, positive and negative. But what happens if we just have an inequality statement? We don't actually have a graph to look at. Well, of course, we could graph it on our calculator and look at it, but remember, you want to be exact, so you're going to have to do a little algebra with it. Okay, first things first, we can only work with these if they are compared somehow to 0. It either has to be greater than or less than 0. No other number. If there's another number, we have to move it over to the other side and simplify. It must be compared to 0. Okay, now once it's compared with 0, then we have to move to our next step, and that is to find what we call our critical values. So we find critical values. Now those critical values come from basically setting this equal to 0 and solving. And since this is already fully factored, basically we're just going to be taking our factors and setting those equal to 0 to find kind of our important points is what we're talking about. So that means x would equal -5 and x would equal 6. Now what happens is these two numbers are kind of what's breaking up our graph. That different things are happening basically around these places. So let's look at this on a number line. Okay, let's put -5 over here and we'll put 6 here. When I say critical values, what I mean is these are literally kind of breaking up our graph, and different things are going to be happening around these important points or critical values. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to test some numbers to see what's happening in each of these areas. I'm going to take a number over here to the left of -5, maybe -10. We're going to choose something in between -5 and 6, like maybe 0. 0 is always a good number to use if you can. And then let's try something over to the right of 6, like say maybe 10. You choose anything you want to as long as it's clearly in those areas. Now we look to see what's happening with each of these factors. We kind of break it down, make it a little bit simpler to deal with. Okay, so for our factor of x plus 5, and remember that factor actually was squared, right? Okay, so if I take my -10 and I plug it into here, -10 plus 5 would be -5. Squared is +25. We really don't care about the number itself. All we care about is the sign. So anything that I put in, any number I choose to the left of -5, when I plug it into this factor, it's going to be positive. Now we'll do the same thing over here. Let's plug in a 0. 0 plus 5 would be 5. Squared is 25, which is a positive number. Over to the right of 6, we chose a 10. So 10 plus 5 would be 15. Squared is whatever it is, but it is positive, and that's what we're most concerned about. Now we're going to look at our factor of x minus 6. Again, if we use the -10, -10 minus 6 will be a negative number. If we use 0, 0 minus 6 will be negative. And if we use 10, 10 minus 6 will be positive. We'll finish this in the next one.